And more stories as we speak to people here. Back to you guys.
Right. Sarah, thank you. We have been in contact with County Judge. Okay. Well, we've been in contact with County Judge Ricardo Samaniego. We were hoping to hear from him, but in the meantime, we are hopefully, if everything is according to schedule, about 5 or so minutes away from El Paso Police giving us another update on this investigation that's happening at CIELO VISTA Mall. Again, just want to, in case someone is just joining us, or if you're just joining us, around 10 after 5 this evening, police were called out to CIELO VISTA Mall regarding a possible active shooter. What we're hearing from witnesses on the scene is that someone opened fire inside the food court area, which is on the second floor of CIELO VISTA Mall. We understand from El Paso Police that 4 people were shot, 1 person died, 3 people were wounded and taken to various hospitals. UMC confirmed 2 men were taken to University Medical Center. Police told us in critical condition. And we also understand, getting confirmation that 1 person was taken to Del Sol Medical Center. Their condition unclear at this time. Police also said that they had 1 shooter in custody. They recovered a weapon. And they were, at the time we got this information, which was about an hour and a half or so ago, they were looking for a possible second shooter, and that they were going through the mall methodically. As we saw in that video, they were going through the mall to clear every single store and identify witnesses and make sure that they were getting people out of the mall who did not need to be there, and get information from the people who saw or heard what happened.
And I think hearing what happened makes it that much more real for everyone. Obviously, people who were there, who witnessed it, who heard it, it's one thing. It's another thing for people to be sitting at home watching what's going on right now, to hear it and to hear it happening again. We don't know the motive. We don't know the circumstances as to why it happened, or if it was an argument that started and then a disagreement, or if it was more random, targeted. Police have not clarified any of that at this point. They are not speaking about a motive at this time. We are expecting an update in the next 4 or 5 minutes, potentially at the top of the hour from police, but at this time we don't know the answer to that at this early stage in the investigation. In the meantime, let's send it over to Adrian Ochoa live in the studio with more reaction that's coming in. Adrian, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's just some more reaction tonight from borderland lawmakers. We want to take a look here at a comment from State Senator Cesar Blanco saying, quote, "I'm disappointed to hear about the shooting that took place in CIELO VISTA Mall this evening in a community that has been tragically struck by gun violence. Today's events open unhealed wounds. Praying for the deceased victim and those injured. Thank you to all law enforcement officers and first responders who quickly responded to the scene and are working to keep our community safe. We're in close contact with city, state officials, Department of Public Safety, and Texas Department of Emergency Management to ensure state resources and assistance is available in the response and aftermath." And then we also had a reaction earlier tonight from Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima. He had just gotten home when he turned on his TV and saw everything that was going on. It's saying, quote, "I'm sorry to hear about this shooting. I texted Mayor Oscar Leeser and let him know the city of Las Cruces is praying for El Paso and anything they need from us to let me know. God bless El Paso." And when you see the video that we just saw of where we heard the shots fired, I can just imagine the flashbacks going to 2019 when we saw those videos, hearing the gunfire inside that Walmart. And interesting, the Sam interview that he did with those 2 young ladies, talking how they went to the bathroom. Well, if you know the layout to the mall, to that food court in particular, you have those openings where you can see downstairs. And on each side of those openings are tables where, outside the restaurants, the McDonald's, the Subway, the Chick-fil-A that's there. So you can go and sit down right there. And they said that they went to a restroom that was nearby, and that restroom's actually located near the entrance to the Dillards. So a perfect hiding spot for them to go, because that thing is just right, that entrance to that restroom is right at the corner of the entrance to the Dillards. That's right in front of that food court. So when you hear these stories coming out, just a frame of reference for you as to how that looks, in case you're not familiar with the layout of CIELO VISTA Mall, particularly the food court. But for now, we'll send things over back to you, Eric and Stephanie.
And now we are getting confirmation that that third shooting victim is being treated at Del Sol Medical Center, and the patient is in fair condition. That is all the information we're getting in regards to the third. The other two are at University Medical Center, a level 1 trauma center. They were listed, both men, listed in critical condition. The third victim at Del Sol Medical Center is in fair condition. It just says the patient. It does not specify male or female, so we don't have that information at this time, but fair condition at Del Sol Medical Center.
All this information is continuing to come in. And again, police did not have the information, couldn't even tell us if the suspect was a man or a woman that they had in custody. It's 8 o'clock, so we're hoping that police are preparing to give our reporters an update. They had updated us about an hour and a half ago or so outside of the library on Viscount and Hawkins in that area. So again, we're hoping to get more information as we continue to see police presence outside of CIELO VISTA Mall. It does appear as traffic in that area is returning to normal as we are entering 3 hours since police arrived on the scene and basically shut down everything in that area. This is a look at our Texas Department of Transportation cameras at I-10 and Hawkins, where you can see the flashing lights around CIELO VISTA Mall as police continue to surround the entirety of CIELO VISTA Mall. A lot of the videos we're getting from inside showing most of the activity happening around the food court area, which is in the northwest corner of CIELO VISTA Mall. But of course, because there are so many entrances, the police and all law enforcement surrounded the area.
I just received a statement from Mayor Oscar Leeser, so I want to read it to you right now. I just received this a minute ago. Mayor Oscar Leeser says, quote, "As our community faced a shooting threat this evening, our emergency responders, law enforcement officers, as well as our agency partners responded immediately to the emergency situation. There is no current threat to our community." That's an important line there, as police say that they believe that there is one suspect outstanding. Again, there is no current threat to our community, according to Mayor Oscar Leeser. He goes on to say, "Those that sheltered in place are currently being moved to the reunification center to reunite with their families, and CIELO VISTA Mall will remain an active crime scene. We will update the community later this evening and as we have more information." Again, that quote coming directly from Mayor Oscar Leeser, his office, from Mayor Oscar Leeser. And I think the most important thing out of that is he's saying that there is no current threat to our community, despite the fact that police say they believe they are still looking for one more outstanding suspect.
And also getting a statement from the Catholic Diocese, and a line that stood out to me, that they were praying for the victims, their families, and for an end to the culture of violence that plagues our society. So again, this is something that the Catholic Diocese wanted to put out tonight, that they were praying for everybody involved, and they're saddened by what happened, but the culture of violence that plagues our society, as this is something that El Paso's community is reliving in that same area from what happened 3.5 years ago, and unfortunately, which has been the top story of every national newscast for this week, is a mass shooting that has happened in different parts of the country. Again, we don't know the motive behind what happened. We're hoping to get more information from El Paso Police as they are preparing to update reporters. They said that update would happen around 8 o'clock. So we're hoping to get more information about who was involved and whether they have more than one person in custody, and if they can give us more information on what led to the shooting that happened inside the mall that forced the closure of CIELO VISTA Mall. And as again, we're seeing police are continuing to release people from the mall, and they're taking them by bus to Burgess High School. I just want to show you the quote that I just read from the bishop, where he said, "We are deeply saddened and heartbroken by the tragic shooting that occurred today at the CIELO VISTA Mall in El Paso. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victim, their families, and all those affected by this senseless act of violence. We stand in solidarity with the entire community of El Paso during this difficult time and offer our support and prayers for healing and peace. We ask that everyone join us in praying for the victims, their families, and for an end to the culture of violence that plagues our society." So again, this is something that not just the people involved, but everybody who was at CIELO VISTA Mall, and anyone who's watching us tonight or seeing this on social media, feeling that feeling when something in our community has happened that is so violent and so tragic and sudden to occur. So many people who have been affected, as we saw at the Burgess High School gym, as numerous families are continuing to show up to try to pick up a lot of them kids who worked at the mall. I was hearing from people who had, their sons and daughters who were working at the mall and taking their dinner break at the food court when all of this happened. So everyone trying to get their family members back home. And you can see again a lot of people arriving. Sen Metro, we saw earlier, busing people from CIELO VISTA Mall to Burgess High School about a block or two away, and trying to get as many people out of there, but as methodically as they can to not interfere with their investigation.
And it is just a sobering sight to see all these family members and people going to another reunification center in El Paso after shots were fired in a very public location, a very busy area, ultimately ending in death. One person killed, 3 more wounded, transported to local hospitals, 2 in critical condition, 1 in fair condition. And our community is once again going through this type of pain. And 3.5 years ago, it was MacArthur Middle School, the reunification center. And tonight, here on February 15th of 2023, it is at Burgess High School. And you can see the arms around family members, moms and daughters, parents and children, linking arms. And they're the lucky ones. They're the ones who are getting that reunification. And at least at this point, we know that there's, at the very least, there's one person and one family out there that is not getting that tonight.
It's something that when I think back to August 3rd and how shocking that was to hear of how many people had lost a family member. So it's one of those moments where you're like, at least this wasn't as bad. And I don't like to say that, but it's something like we're not thankfully reliving the horrific tragedy to the magnitude that we were 3 years ago. But it is, again, a family that has lost someone, and 3 other families and their family members who are waiting at those hospitals to find out how their family member is doing. A senseless act of violence that happened in a public place. Something that unfortunately we have gotten all too familiar with before what happened on August 3rd, 2019, and throughout almost every single day until now. And again, this is something that we are just hoping to get more information from police about what exactly happened inside the mall that led to this shooting. But something that struck me when you were talking about the families that we saw at Burgess as they're entering is so many of them were families. And we heard from a witness saying that he heard so many little kids on the bus as he was headed back to, or headed to Burgess from the mall, so many little toddlers crying and their mothers trying to comfort them. I mean, this is a place where people go to shop and they go to grab a quick bite to eat, or they're dropping off their kids or picking up their kids as they work at the mall. That area is bustling, as we've been talking about. Lots of restaurants and shops in that area. It's just such a tragic thing to happen to this community that had been recovering and trying to feel whole after so long. To have an area is just, it's such a tragedy. And we were looking live at Burgess at the reunification center as people continue to stream in, as the buses continue to drop off people. So it is fortunate that El Paso police are able to expedite their clearing of the mall, and they're releasing people as they can, but they're also having to interview people about what they saw and heard. But at the same time, they have to do their part in the investigation and make sure that they get all the information they can before these people can go home. And it's just, I think about the young man we interviewed, and he was like, this is my first time dealing with this. And you could see him living the trauma of what he experienced and what he heard. And that's what so many of those people are experiencing tonight.
Nobody should have to hear that sound, especially in that type of setting.
Mm-hmm.
The sound of gunshots in a mall when people are going about their business, going about their day, and trying to enjoy some time doing whatever it is that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to mind their own business, whether it be grab a meal at the food court, go and shop, maybe people spending some gift cards that they just got yesterday as a Valentine's Day gift.
Mm-hmm.
And to just go to the mall. You mentioned the early release within EPISD because of parent-teacher conferences, so maybe some people had some extra time today to do something that they don't typically have and be able to go. I think the other thing that's, really resonates and is telling and just brings me so much back to, and this is really more on the positive